You think your anger is a weapon. You think that by staying angry, you are somehow punishing the people who hurt you. But look in the mirror closely today. That anger is not punishing them. It is only burning lines into your own face. It is time to stop drinking the poison and expecting the other person to die. Welcome to the Midlife Reset Manual. I am here with you, right in the thick of it. We need to talk about the elephant in the room, the emotion that most women over 50 are too polite to admit they feel resentment. It is that low-grade fever that never goes away. It is the conversation you have in your head at 3 a.m., replaying the betrayal, replaying the unfairness, listing all the sacrifices you made that went unnoticed. I know how it feels. It feels like you have been cheated, like you followed the rules. You were the good wife, the sacrificing mother, the loyal employee. And what did you get in return? Heartbreak, silence, and a life that feels smaller than the one you were promised. Your feelings are valid. I want you to hear that. Your rage is not a sign that you are crazy. It is a sign that you have been hurt. But here is the hard truth we must face together. Staying in that rage is a choice to remain a victim. Let me tell you about Sarah. Sarah is 52 and lives in Atlanta. She sat on my couch 6 months ago, twisting a tissue until it shredded in her hands. Her husband of 28 years left her. Not just left her. He replaced her with a woman who was the same age as their eldest daughter. He bought a sports car. He started traveling to Italy, doing all the things he told Sarah they couldn't afford to do. Sarah was consumed by fire. Every time she saw a photo of them on social media, she felt like she was swallowing broken glass. She told me, "It is not fair. I raised his children. I ironed his shirts. I built his credit score, and now she gets to enjoy the harvest of my planting." She spent 2 years stalking them online, obsessing over their happiness, waiting for them to fail, but they didn't fail. They looked happy, and Sarah was the one losing her hair from stress. One day, Sarah saw a picture of her ex-husband laughing, really laughing, and it hit her like a physical blow. He wasn't thinking about her at all. He wasn't suffering because she was angry. He was free, and she was the one in prison. She was the warden of her own jail cell. In that moment of brutal clarity, Sarah put her phone down. She realized that her hate was a cord, tying her to the very man she wanted to escape. And the only way to be free was to drop the end of the rope. Sarah's story is painful, but isn't it the story of so many of us? We hold on to the injustice because we think letting go means saying it was okay, but letting go doesn't mean they were right. It means you are finished suffering for their mistakes. Why do we do this? Why do smart, capable women turn into bitterness collectors? I believe resentment acts like a shield. When we are angry, we don't have to be sad. Sadness makes us feel vulnerable. Sadness makes us feel weak. But anger makes us feel powerful. It gives us a surge of adrenaline. It makes us feel righteous. But resentment is a liar. It promises to protect you, but it actually isolates you. Think about it. When you are bitter, your energy is sharp. It pushes people away. Your children might stop calling as often, not because they don't love you, but because they can feel the heaviness in your voice. Your friends might stop inviting you out, because every conversation turns back to him, or the job, or the betrayal, and suddenly, you are alone with your ghosts. This brings me to Elena. Elena wasn't divorced. She was married and seemingly stable. But she carried a mountain of resentment towards her family. She was an artist in her 20s, a brilliant painter. But when the kids came, she put the brushes away. She became the driver, the cook, the homework helper, the emotional anchor. Now at 55, the house was empty, and she looked at her husband, who had just retired with a plaque and a pension, and she looked at her kids who were outliving their dreams, and she hated them. She hated them for taking her time. She hated them for her unlived life. She would snap at her husband for chewing too loudly. She would guilt-trip her daughter for not visiting. She was becoming the bitter old woman she swore she would never be. One afternoon, while cleaning out the attic, she found her old canvases covered in dust. She touched the dried paint and she started to cry, not tears of anger, but tears of grief. She realized that nobody had forced her to stop painting. She had made that choice out of love, out of duty, perhaps out of fear of failing. Elena wiped her hands on her jeans and looked at her palms. She realized these hands were not victims. These hands had raised human beings, and these hands could still hold a brush. The power had never left her. She had just forgotten how to use it. Elena taught us something profound that day. Resentment often masquerades as blame, but underneath the blame is usually a deep disappointment with ourselves for the boundaries we didn't set and the dreams we didn't protect. So how do we move forward? How do we take this heavy lead of resentment and turn it into gold? The first step is radical responsibility. This is the hardest pill to swallow. It means admitting that we played a role, not in the betrayal. The betrayal was done to you, but in the staying, in the tolerating, in the sacrificing of our own needs until we were empty. When you accept that you have agency, you stop waiting for an apology that will never come. Waiting for closure from the person who broke you is like waiting for the thief to return the money and apologize for the inconvenience. It is not going to happen, and you cannot pause your life waiting for it. You have to grant yourself closure. You have to sign your own permission slip to be happy. Happiness is the ultimate revenge, but not because it hurts them, because it heals you. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and the first thought in your head isn't about the past. Imagine drinking your coffee and feeling light. Feeling like the future is a blank canvas, not a graveyard of regrets. I have developed a specific daily practice, a ritual that acts like a detox for the soul. It is not meditation. It is not just thinking positive. It is an active physical release of emotional debt. I taught this to Sarah, and within 30 days, she stopped stalking her ex online. I taught this to Elena, and she is painting again. Not for a gallery, but for her own joy. If you are ready to put the backpack down, if you are tired of being the victim in your own story, I'm going to walk you through this technique. It involves 3 specific steps, and a tool you probably already have in your kitchen. This is where the real work begins. This is where we cut the cord. But before I share this life-changing method, I need to know you are with me. I need to know you are committed to your own freedom. Click that subscribe button right now. Turn on the notification bell. Because in the next video, we are going to burn the ledger, and I want you to be there to strike the match. The tool I mentioned is likely sitting in your kitchen drawer right now. It is a simple box of matches and a fire-safe bowl. We call this technique the burn letter ceremony, and it is the most visceral way to evict resentment from your body, because resentment is not just a thought. It is trapped energy, and energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transformed. Here is exactly how you do it. You are going to write a letter to the person who hurt you. But this is not a polite letter. This is the unedited, raw, ugly truth. You write down every curse word, every specific detail of the betrayal. You write about the money they stole, the time they wasted, the confidence they shattered. You do not hold back. You vomit the poison onto the page, and then you do not send it. Sending, it is an act of war, and we are not looking for war. We are looking for peace. You take that letter, You go outside under the open sky and you light it on fire. As you watch the paper turn to black ash, you say these words out loud. I release the debt. You owe me nothing because I am taking my power back. Let me tell you why this works. I had a client named Linda. She had not spoken to her sister in 10 years over an inheritance dispute. The money was long gone, but the anger was fresh. Linda did the burn letter ceremony. She told me that as she watched the smoke rise, she felt a physical weight lift off her chest. She realized she had been guarding a pile of ash for a decade, thinking it was gold. When she let it go, she didn't get the money back, but she got Linda back. She started sleeping through the night for the first time in years, but the ceremony is just the beginning. The real challenge is what you do the next morning. When the old habit of anger tries to sneak back in, because anger is addictive, it gives us a false sense of purpose, so we need a new operating system to replace the old one. This brings us to the second phase of your healing, the pivot of attention. Resentment is like staring at a closed door, beating your fist against it, begging it to open. The pivot is simply turning your head and noticing that there is an open window right next to you, but you have been too busy staring at the door to see it. For Sarah, the woman whose husband left her for a younger model, the pivot happened when she stopped asking, "Why did he leave?" and started asking, "What can I do now that he is gone?" She realized she had always wanted to travel to Peru, but he hated high altitudes. She realized she wanted to paint her bedroom purple, but he hated the color. She booked the ticket. She bought the paint. And in reclaiming those small choices, she realized that his departure was not a rejection. It was an eviction notice for a tenant who was holding her back. We need to talk about the concept of the void again. When you let go of a big resentment, you will feel empty. That emptiness can be scary. It feels like a hole in your chest, but do not rush to fill it with a new distraction. That hole is sacred space. It is room for something new to grow in nature. A forest fire is devastating, but the heat of the fire is actually what causes certain seeds to crack open, seeds that would never bloom without the heat. Your anger was the fire. Now look for the seeds. So what is your daily action plan? How do you stay free when the world tries to pull you back? I want you to adopt the bless and block strategy. This is your new mantra. When a memory of the betrayal pops up, you say, I bless you on your journey, and I block you from my energy. It sounds simple, but it is a boundary of steel. You are not wishing them harm because wishing them harm keeps you connected to them. You are wishing them well, way over there, far away from your soul. You also need to reclaim your timeline. Women over 50 often feel like they ran out of time, that the best years were stolen by the people we resent. That is a lie. The first 50 years were just the research phase. You were gathering data. You were learning what you don't want so that you can clearly choose what you do want. Now is the time for the development phase. You are the architect now, not the victim. I want you to make a list tonight. Title it the For Me list. List 3 things you are going to do this month, strictly for your own pleasure, not for your kids, not for your job, not for your image, for you. Maybe it is taking a pottery class. Maybe it is walking on the beach alone at sunrise. Maybe it is eating a decadent dessert without calculating the calories. Do these things with intention. Do them as an act of rebellion against the bitterness. You have spent enough time tending to the wounds of the past. It is time to tend to the garden of your future, the people who hurt you. They are just footnotes in your biography. They are not the title of the book. You are the author, and you have a lot of pages left to write. Make them beautiful. Make them vibrant. Make them yours. If you feel lighter after listening to this, If you feel the cords of resentment loosening, then this community is exactly where you belong. We are rewriting our stories together, one day at a time. Share this video with a woman you know who is still carrying the heavy backpack. Help her put it down and make sure you are subscribed. Because in our next session, we are going to talk about finding your purpose when the nest is empty, and you do not want to miss that. Take a deep breath, let it go, and walk forward.